Uncle John's. We have Uncle John and Aunt Clara, Myrna, Dell, Marilyn, Danny, and now our leader, here he is. So I'm going to ask Jeff and Ronald's girls if they would lay the flowers for Uncle John's family. So girls, would you come? Can you do that? So, where's Uncle John? Okay, you can kind of clear that. Just lay it right in front of you, please. And Orpha, can you lay these? Girls, go with it. Go with your mama. So, you're still in the middle of the family. We're all right around you. And we love you. Now we're going to just walk as a group. This is Uncle Leonard's family. The first one we brought here was Bobby. And Uncle Leonard, Aunt Betty, and a grandma to all of us, Grandma Swisher, who was Betty's mother, and she was just simply grandma to all of us. And then we have the good senator that we just lost. So there's 5 people here for us to remember. You kids want to lay Uncle Leonard's?
Yeah, Barbie will.
Okay, Barbie on Uncle Leonard's grave. David, you want to lay Bill? You and Lenny? Sure.
Where do you think I should go?
Just anywhere is fine, just so we can see it.
Of course you need. I don't know.
Julie showed me a picture this morning of a rainbow that was right over Uncle Leonard's ranch. And I will see, if I have a picture of it, I will see if I can get that on the banner for you. Because there's nobody here that experienced Uncle Leonard's family that didn't think that's where the gold was. There's nobody. And we have a picture now. I've never seen it. It's
Outstanding if it doesn't turn out.
yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. So Billy, we're so proud of you. State Senator for
28 years.
53 years. I stretched it because I like that. I just thought it would be good to stretch it out. This is Uncle Albert's family. Albert and Lorraine are both here. And there's something really interesting happening this weekend. I think I'm free to say this. we all had a lot of pride that Uncle Albert owned the bank, the Dakota Western. I just, in fact, people would say to me, gosh, is that your uncle? And I would say yes. And my dad's picture hangs in that bank. I was so incredibly proud of that. I couldn't believe it. But there is an honor occurring right now for Uncle Albert. His grandson, Bruce and Teresa's oldest son, right now is being named president of the bank.
Oh, awesome.
And one time I said to Uncle Albert, I said, would I be able to borrow some money? He said, absolutely. I'm going to give you the relative discount, 70% interest. And that's why he was so successful. You see. That's why the kids are doing so well. Well, no. Ran right over to the First National. Okay, so Albert's kids, where's Susie? Is Wendy out here?
When is the therapy this morning?
Okay, Susie, come and lay flowers. So, thank you to Uncle Albert and Aunt Lorraine, who is a hostess to all of us. You didn't get to Bowman County, but what a call came from Rain, when can you come for supper? It didn't happen. There were some people that married into the Bowman family that became Bowmans. Just somehow they did. Aunt Lorraine was one, Aunt Betty was one, Aunt Clara was one.
And Aunt Jen.
You know, Mother didn't to that extent. She made the boys go to the basement.
But we loved her.
We did. They all had a very special place, but there were three that absolutely embraced us in our hugeness, in our massiveness. They took, and Aunt Lorraine was one of those. She really was. So we have incredible thank you to all of Uncle Albert's family, and we're here because of Bruce, because he just would not let this go. It didn't matter what roadblocks we came up against, and boy did we come up against roadblocks. It didn't matter. Finally it was down to Bruce, Teresa, me, and I think Wendy that were coming. Four of us would be out here again. This is where Uncle Charlie and Aunt Winona are. And we had two incredibly fancy relatives. One was Aunt Della and one was Uncle Charlie. They were just larger than life people. They really were. And we all knew it. Bruce talked about Uncle Charlie quoting Bible verses. When he wasn't doing that, I think he was playing cards. He was apparently a shrewd card player and would take the train down to Minneapolis to, I suppose, poker games. And we always could kind of tell how he did because Mama would have a new diamond. And there were a lot of them.
He had gunny sacks of money in his basement all the time.
He just was very, very shrewd. I think in sharp-minded and shrewd. But they provided a sense of largeness to us. The other four families were all kind of Midwestern and rural leaning, and Uncle Charlie and Aunt Della could have really come right straight from Hollywood casting. I mean, and Uncle Charlie didn't wear cowboy boots except for the pair that he gave Mike that didn't have gold or silver tips on it. And he had beautiful Stetson hats, and he represented who he was really beautifully. And they were not necessarily the most connected of the families. Aunt Winona's families lived here also, and her two sisters, and that's kind of where they gravitated. So when we say we were together at four families, we're talking about Leonards, Johns, Alberts, and Lawrences. Charlie's would participate some, and we loved having them, but they were not regular participators. And so this is for Uncle Charlie and Aunt Winona. And Berkey, our cousin, who is not with us this year, lost a beloved grandson this year. A superstar, an absolute superstar, sophomore in high school, outstanding athlete, 4-point grade point average, and such a good-looking boy. Not that it matters, but he was. That took his own life at home with the gun that his parents had given him for Christmas.
Oh,
no.
was that? Oh,
And that family was not sideways like you can't imagine. They have an older son. That's his son Brett and his wife Ann's son Carter. They have an older son, Charlie, who is going to NDSU, and they have struggled like we all would that have a grandchild that age, and there's plenty of them. So this is to remember the loss of Carter, and it's horrific. Obviously Carter is not here, but we're laying this for Carter so that we don't forget either. This is Uncle Lawrence's, and Lucile obviously was years and years and years ago, and that's a loss that's real hard to understand. She was 41 years old and left a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 9-year-old, and an 11-year-old. And that's a really tough story. It's a very tough story. She died of breast cancer, and here she is. But I wouldn't be here without her. I wouldn't exist. So I have a kind of a poignant gratitude for my life based on her life, but what a loss for that family. I want to just point out something to you. This was her headstone, and I thought I'm gonna say something about Aunt Jen, because I thought she did the classiest thing I have ever seen. She designed these. Lucile's wheat bows into him, and so does Mother's.
Oh, I love it.
So they are both honoring him. Daddy bought 6 lots when Lucile died, like in case a plague or something came through, I suppose. But anyway, so this is one. I suppose this is where he was supposed to be. This is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, and 2 more. And I'm just going to tell you a very brief story. I was out here one time by myself, and something attacked my ankle. I mean, just piercing. And I thought, I've been bitten by a rattlesnake. I didn't even dare look down. So my first thought was, you know what? I'm just going to go sit on my spot, because I'm going to be over here, and it'll save the kids all that transport cost. So when I told Dana, she said, yeah, Mother, that's real stupid. So then that was real good. But anyway, Lois Carol, can you lay Lawrence's? Where's Lois Carol? Do we have her? Can you lay this? Put it on Daddy's? Can you put it right on Daddy's? Or do you want it up here? Should we put it up here? That would work too. And Steve and Mike, would you come and lay? Darrell and Corinne are not here, only physically. They're here in every other way. So would you boys lay these between Lucile and Granddad, right here? These are grandsons this woman has no idea about. And she would be so proud. She would be so proud. Stay right there. This is Bubby, and I won't regale you with the story from last night, but I have one little piece of information that I think we need to think about. The reason Grandma said she doesn't know how she got to the funeral, but she did, and the funeral was in Bowman, is because she says in her book that between 1909 and 4 years, 1913, she got to Bowman 1 time a year for 4 years to get supplies, 17 miles. one time a year, I want you to think about your pantries, your freezers,
Amazon Prime.
and many of you are just a couple or living on your own. No wonder they ate milk pudding, which was simply boiled milk with flour added. That's what they had.
You stir it right though.
That's what they that's what they had. It was probably close to dire, but here we are. Joanne, would you lay Mrs. Bugby? So, Mrs. Bugby, thank you. Thank you. We have not forgotten you. We have not forgotten you.
Thank you for bringing my mother into the world and some of the other mothers here.
Would you remind us how old was she when she died?
You know, well, is there a birth year on here?
Yes, there is. Is there? Yes, there is.
You can get down there.
Oh, and I can't read. 1876.
Well, we wanted to remember Sherman because he was such an important family member, and my gosh, Sherman and Marilyn were married. What year were they married? 52. He's been a Bowman forever, and boy, you talk about a personality.
Yeah.
Clifford, you know, you never knew who people's names were, so they were all Mildred and Clifford. You know? Never a clue what anybody was. Hello, Mildred. Hello.